Now to that violent road crash that killed so many people in southwestern Ontario yesterday. Tonight we can tell you more about the 10 migrant workers and the Canadian driver of the truck who all died. The accident has renewed calls that controversial 15-passenger van should be taken off roads for good. More on that in a few minutes, but first we go to our Adrienne Arsenault, who's been in Hampstead all day. Adrienne.
Peter, it's been about a decade since there was an accident this bad in Canada. There are, of course, frantic calls for investigations and inquests, and, of course, a serious effort underway to find that Peruvian community which lost so many sons here last night. Emergency workers said men were dying right before them, and there was nothing they could do about it. Some bodies stayed trapped in the wreckage, rammed into a rural Ontario house until late into the night. Cut from seatbelts, 11 dead were taken away. 3 passengers survived, but they're critically wounded. Into the night and well into the morning, that anyone made it seemed to stun.
No one ever expects to see something that much carnage. It was definitely a terrible scene.
It is perhaps not a perplexing one, though. Lots of fast trucks and small intersections. From what police and witnesses have said, the passenger van carrying 13 Peruvian migrant workers at the end of a shift was traveling west. How fast it was going is unclear. It did have a stop sign, but did it stop? The flatbed truck heading south had no stop sign. It slammed into the van in the middle of the intersection, sending it nearly 30 meters into what's become known as the Little Blue House. The driver of the truck, 38-year-old Christopher Fulton, was also killed. Today, the firm he worked for, Speedy Transport, said this was their first fatality, and police told them Fulton tried to avoid the passenger van, but was unable to do so. For some in Canada right now, more than what happened is the sad matter of who it happened to. The Latin American community here is small and tight, and word spread quickly that all these men may have been not simply colleagues and friends with each other, but extended family. Lucy Mendoza tells us not knowing whether the friends she's come to know are alive or dead is the hardest. Identification has been tough. That's why so few names have been released. But these people know precisely who's gone, including a father and son, 2 brothers, and 5 newcomers who'd arrived Friday. Yesterday was their first day at work.
Their fathers, sons, and people are waiting for them back home, and suddenly this happened, and I'm sorry I don't have no more words to say.
But there is more to say, both by and to this woman, Blanca. She worked with all of them, in a relationship with one, and was supposed to be in that crammed van. Instead, she took a ride in an almost empty one.
I don't know what happened. If in the morning, it's only 13 people in the one van, and another one, only me and the driver.
Together, they wanted to visit the site. So at almost the precise hour of the crash, with that low sun so blinding at that intersection, they came to try to see and do what they could. There are girlfriends and co-workers here who told us of hard jobs and long hours, good intentions, and decent men gone. They too have questions and difficult phone calls to make. Peter, we should know a little bit more about that accident tomorrow when the OPP hold another news conference. But people in the area do tell us that in a way these types of accidents are sometimes a phenomenon of rural Canada, with very busy highways intersected by very tiny streets.
Adrienne, do we know any more at this point about what those migrant workers were actually doing?
Well, these men were primarily working as chicken catchers. This is a very difficult, very labor-intensive job. Yesterday, they happened to be vaccinating chickens not far away. This is work they were accustomed to, and we know that there were many people who'd been counting on those paychecks from these men back in Peru for a very long time. Peter?
All right, Adrienne, thanks very much. Adrienne Arsenault in Hampstead, Ontario tonight.